So, let's see here. If they want to jump into a voice channel, we can see if we can get them in here. There we go. Hey, Raven!
Hello, hello.
All right, there we go. Now, I wanted to end up dragging Raven in here for the. Well, for those who are maybe just. How long is Call of Cthulhu? You can literally listen to its audiobook in a little over 2 hours. Bat. So, there you go. Raven, I wanted to end up discussing because you are fairly new when it comes down to the tabletop aspect of a lot of these games. Like, to my understanding,
I
my
am.
my game Edmonton by Night Blood Sands is one of the first games that you ended up coming into as a player, right?
Yep.
So I wanted to end up having you tell us just a little bit about some of the ways that game might have impacted you or ended up making you feel a little bit uncomfortable, where the horror has come from. And I want your firsthand experience as somebody not an expert of this, but as somebody who has had this inflicted upon them by yours truly. If you wouldn't mind going into that a bit.
Oh God, you're asking the wrong person to talk about, feeling where the horror came from in that game. You've tried to make me uncomfortable so many times, and it just backfired on you.
Oh,
But
really? As opposed to when you ended up having to end up. Well, we can always start with the familial, which was always fun.
well, yeah,
Is I remember your little bit of a moral panic there.
yeah. Artemis got herself into quite a pickle, didn't she? Definitely wasn't expecting it to go that way. Wasn't wanting it to, but our own actions, especially my own actions, got my character's sister into bit of a rock and a hard place type situation.
Yeah. And you
Go on.
said that had to do with your own actions, right?
Uh-huh.
And here's a question: does that kind of make you wonder, like, where did it go? How did this all happen? And you start thinking about the results of your own actions in that game. Start realizing what you're actually responsible for in it,
Oh,
right?
constantly.
So I don't think it backfired. I think it worked exactly as it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But when you were playing it up, when we're going into it, I wanted to end up in knowing, like, when you've experienced it, what if you managed to pull away from it as a newcomer? What are some of the lessons you might have pulled from the game and your own experiences on the tabletop, knowing that you actually come from a horror tabletop background as opposed to Dungeons and Dragons? What were you able to pull from that?
Lean
Yeah,
into it.
lean
You
into it.
definitely you've got to lean into whatever choice you make, even if you think it's going to be the wrong one. Because there have been a couple times where I don't know if you remember, but when Vic and Gerard had gotten Gene and M, the two NPCs, load up into the van to leave, my initial reaction was to stay put there at the house. I changed my mind last second to go into the van.
Mhm.
But
But you start to end up looking at this, right?
yeah,
It sticks with you, doesn't it?
it does.
I think that's the key, and especially when it comes to the systems that Maddie was talking about. You need you need that story to stick because when well done, horror is one of those things that will stay with you at all times. And I'm grateful, Raven, that you ended up coming in here. And I think that's a fantastic piece of advice that you end up pointing out, which is don't be afraid to lean into it. Because I think that was definitely one of the things that you were struggling with when you first started, if I
It was.
recall.
It was. I have certainly, from where I started up to now, I've opened up more into playing the character, including Rebirth now. Um, it's it's kind of hard to describe how that is because I was just like a little wallflower in the start. I wasn't sure what to do, where to go, and now I'm a lot more comfortable in where I'm at.
Yeah. And have you found that like you see what I'm talking about? Oh, we got an orange capsule coming in for Bane.
Come on, draw yellow for him.
Well, we'll see. You two keep talking. I'm doing this muted here. I'm gonna get
right.
the giveaway and everything set up, but I don't want to break what you're doing.
No worries. Okay. But when you're here, when you're playing D&D, I think you're coming, especially if you've seen Coffee Cat's games, right?
Oh yeah.
So you notice that there's a drastic difference from how he runs Rebirth, from how he runs Vampire.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
There's a definite difference there.
Yeah.
Vampire, he does lean into more of the tragedy aspect of horror. You tend to lean more into the whole thing, but
you'll also notice that when like D&D really helps build that whole you are the hero, you are the epic person up front, right? You are the one who holds the torch, guiding the light. That's the feel that comes in when you're playing in any horror game. That's almost inverted, right?
yeah.
And I wanted to end up knowing, like, now that you're kind of a more experienced role player, for anybody who's getting into the first horror game, so you're not running it, but understand all the information you've been getting from us right now, from me and Maddie, has been about the storyteller, the keeper, the dungeon master, the mother, whatever it is, firekeeper, take your pick, right? That's what the information's become. But I want to pick your brain a little bit. Ooh, nice pick.
Ooh.
The Laughing Hand and the Fiendish Wanderer. Love those models. But what would be some of the advice? So you said lean into it. Was there any other bits of advice for somebody who is coming into horror? Because now you have an understanding of what traditional D&D is like, and horror. What would be some of the core things you would end up suggesting to help out a newcomer, somebody who was where you were not more than a few months ago?
Don't be afraid to test your limits. Definitely know them, but don't be afraid to test them. So someone like me, I'm fine with what Derek throws at me in game. I'm fine with all the aspects of horror of it. I'm not that squeamish of a person. Like I said, he's tried to make me uncomfortable a couple times. There's maybe one time you maybe managed to halfway succeed.
I think that mostly at that point your realm is like mine, well outside of the bounds of Twitch terms of service. Yes. That's the problem, right? We're fighting against the Twitch terms of service.
There's a reason my tag on Discord says Skeleton Queen. So, but definitely don't be afraid to test your limits when it comes to horror. I know there are some people who are highly squeamish. Just talk with your game runner about it. Talk with the DM, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to push it. Don't be afraid to have them stop the scene if it's too much for you. And if you have any concerns, don't stay quiet, because there were a couple things that at the start I was confused about, or I can't remember what exactly it was, and I never spoke up about it. And I can't, like, it's been so long now, I can't remember what it was. That's because I was a nervous person. So.
Yeah. And it's always nerve-wracking. And I'd like to end up giving a quick shout-out to Guinea Pig Gamer on behalf of Matty Morgs, who's kindly let us have his platform for a bit, as we're kind of discussing with Ravenstar right now. My name's MacabreDerek. I'm kind of asking them as a player of one of my games, because they're in, I think, the same situation a lot of you are in right now. Which is, yeah, you might have played some Dungeons & Dragons, or in Raven's case, hasn't played a tabletop role-playing game at all, and you're trying to end up coming into it, and it's like, how do you get into horror, right? How do you get into Call of Cthulhu, Alien, Vampire, these three systems we were talking about over the past 3 days? And honestly, especially for somebody who teaches the game, the insights you will get from new players is huge. So, Rayven, thank you very much for coming in, even if it's a small bit. I know it's a small interview, but I wanted to bring to light some of the your own experience and be able to end up saying, okay, well, what would you end up recommending in that regard? That is a fantastic beholder, by the way, Maddie.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. The model kit is pretty sweet too. And dear God, that is that embroidered or is that just? Yeah, it looks like
That's not embroidered. That's like a screen print.
that looks like a screen print. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it's a print on, or like a, not a sticker, but like a press on.
No, it's fantastic though. Congratulations, Bane. You bugger. So, I will. Bane has never stopped giving it to me in my own chat. I get to end up firing back. But
No,
we're gonna
he
give
gives
this.
it to everyone when he's in their chats.
He wants all this smoke, but
He does.
Call of Cthulhu is equally as fascinating as D&D as a new player. I'm inhaling all of this info. Yeah, Hatter, I'm glad to end up giving you something to end up looking at, and I'm hoping that this has helped a fair amount.
Hatter,
Um,
I'm the same way. Like, the second I was pulled into VTM, oh, trust me, I turned around, bought the PDF version of the core book, and started inhaling that thing. I still am. To this moment, I've constantly got the core book open. Because I'm constantly looking shit up.
But, Raven, I appreciate you for this brief moment to come in and just talk with me about it, because I really think, especially coming from somebody who just got in, you have a little bit of insight that maybe me and Maddie, well, that time is forgotten. It's been so long since
Yeah.
we've been new to the scene that there's so much we just kind of take for granted. But you're absolutely right. Lean into it. Don't be afraid to speak up. Like, I make it very clear in my off stream games, like, tell me where where your limits are. I might yellow line them, but the reason is, and I openly state this, is I'm trying to make you a little bit uncomfortable. That's where you should be in a hit when the game's well done. But when it gets too much,
And obviously,
let me know.
if you know your limits, definitely set the hard limit with whoever's running the game, because I know there are some things that, like my best friend, we just pulled her into the game that Simba's Bloody Mojo was running, and she was in her first session just tonight, and we set a hard line with him on just one thing that I knew would never happen in his game,
but it's good
it had
to
to
know.
be mentioned. Yeah.
Yep. And I absolutely get that. But when you're here going through all this, these are the little things you take for granted. Like myself, one of the things I usually take for granted is that for me there are very, very few limits. I think I literally only have two, as far as I have actively found that ever come up in a game. So, the third voice is Ravenstar, our own mod for the Hero Zone, and a player in my own game, Edmonton by Night Blood Sands. I wanted to end up bringing them in, specifically to end up asking them any questions. So, do you have any questions for me or Maddie before we end up getting back into this? Because I know Maddie wants to get this giveaway on the go right away, and I said that I hardline would take away 15 minutes, and that time's almost up.
It is open. It's called "We Have Such Sights to Show You!" Exclamation point ticket or exclamation point enter to get in.
But Raven, is there any other or any questions you would like to end up asking? Coming as a newcomer to here, tabletop RPGs, now you got your hands wet as a player. Is there anything you wanted to end up asking as a storyteller? Maybe you're thinking about running your first Chronicle game involved in your first game that you're going to be hosting.
Actually, I don't have any questions at all right now, but I know who to hit up if I do.
Hey, you can find me Mondays, you know that.
I can find you any day of the week. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, but usually that involves me putting you on a hook.
Yeah, but it's always fun.
I have such sights to show you. All right, Raven. Thank you very much for your time. We're going to give it back to Maddie. Maddie, I don't think you need me for anything else from this point on, so we're going to end up with... I'm going to say goodbye if that's the case and let you get going on giving away this Cthulhu Stardust set. Thank you all for your time. Maddie, if you have anything to interject.
take up Raven's invitation to go visit Derek. If you like his cameo here, you'll get a whole lot more of him in his own channel. Rayven, don't be afraid to put a link over to Derek's Discord as well. And this is an honorable disclaimer. I keep things PG-13. Derek doesn't. That said, It's actually refreshing, in my opinion. So when you're finished hanging out in the game store, you know, maybe you go to your friend's house to, you know, play some Texas Hold'em, or, you know, you can finally speak your mind that the tyrannical game store owner won't let you do inside the hallowed halls of the FLGS. I say that with due respect and a smile on my face. It's actually a very fun place, and if you want to explore, like, Derek is willing to teach. He will explain concepts and in art, in storytelling, in a lot of different things. I would highly recommend going over and giving him a look. And I'll tell you, if you all like me for some strange reason, Derek does things that I wish that I could do more of. Like, you heard him say that he puts Rayven up on a hook. Derek plays video games with you all in his community. He could talk video games. He'll be happy to throw down with you in a fighting game, or to adventure with you in Elden Ring, or you want to challenge him in Dead by Daylight, or, you know, do some tactics. Good old Coach Derek can also give you some advice there, even while he's hunting and, you know, and trying to go for the 4K. I highly suggest going over there. Derek is also going to be having a coloring event going on. It's not live yet, is it, Derek?
It's not live yet. It is actually going to be announced live tomorrow at the end of our Vampire the Masquerade game, Edmonton by Night Blood Sands. We're on season 2, and we're only a handful of episodes before closing out the season and getting ready to go into our next chronicle, San Jose by Night, City of Glass. All right, Maddie, thank you very much for your time. Everybody, thank you very much for allowing me to hijack Maddie's stream for a little bit and having to put up with my sorry backside. I'm going to leave you in his capable hands. Get your tickets in right now. That Call of Cthulhu starter set is one hell of a buy, I'm not going to lie. And don't forget, this isn't the only thing he carries in, so ask around. You'd be surprised what you'll find at the Hero Zone. He is my local game store from another country, so I'm going to end up wishing you all a fantastic evening. Good night, everybody.
All right, all. Exclamation point ticket or exclamation point enter. For those of you going on adventures, if you're ODXP, Rayven can help you out with that. Anything won has free shipping to a U.S. address. If you win and live outside the U.S., you will be responsible for the international shipping to get the prize or prizes out to you. Bear that in mind. And if you are new to the channel and you're getting in on this, I ask you to join our Discord, because that makes communication so much easier. Because that way I can get a tracking number to you, and you can tell me to whom and where you want the things to go. But in light of the things that we're talking about, I do have this Call of Cthulhu. I opened this up, so it's not in its original shrink wrap, because I opened it live here to showcase some the rules insert, and you get several adventures in here. The first is a solo play to help take you through the rules, and then there's some other smaller adventures to ramp you up into it. As well, for whoever wins this, and because this is already open, I am going to be giving you a Keeper Tips book. Collected Wisdom on Running Games for the 40th anniversary of Call of Cthulhu. So for any of you who have reservations, like, I'm so used to D&D, not that there's anything wrong with D&D, but I'm so used to heroic storytelling. How do I get into horror? How do I build stories? I want to include this with the starter, so you are going to get even more collected wisdom than what's in the rules and what has been shared by Derek, myself, and Rayven as well. So this is actually going to be a two-for, or a twofer if you prefer. The Call of Cthulhu starter set and the Keeper Tips book. Because I really, as much as we are a D&D stream, that is the bread and butter here. Again, I have nothing against it. I also want you to try different systems. I want you to get out there, and I want you to try and run Call of Cthulhu and maybe feel sheepish because you didn't describe something and kind of threw it off, because then you're getting experience. Because the next time you run it, you're going to be stronger, and the next time you run it, you're going to be stronger, and you will face more and more challenges and explore fears and plot hooks and everything that maybe you haven't before. And I want you to go boldly with confidence into the jaws of terror. So, I'm going to count down from 20, and then I'm going to close entries, and let's find out who is winning the prizes. So here we go. I have 21 people entered. Man, we have 47 watching, only 21 are in? Alright, I see how it is. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we have 21 people who have entered. And let's find out who is going to win, not only the starter, but again, because I want you to have confidence in the fear, in the terror, in the horror, in the mystery. I want you to also have this Keeper Tips book. And the winner is Simba's Bloody Mojo. So congrats to you, Simba. Let's see the capsules and the conga rats. I'm going to sneak this little book inside here. But wait, there's actually more. There are prizes, yes. And of course, I already surprised you by putting in that small book. But what I also want to do, I want to give away a core rulebook for Alien RPG. Now, I don't know if Derek's listening. Derek, I'm afraid I can't give away a VTM because they've actually been out of stock at my distributors. I have one on my shelf, and I want to keep it local. But we've given out a lot of VTM. But what I can do, because for some reason there's a shortage of vampires right now, I want to find a home for the core rulebook for Alien RPG. Yes, there is an Alien RPG. There's a starter for it even too, Hatter, if you're interested. And there's a lot to it. Anyway, so here's the core rulebook, and it does have an introductory adventure. This is not the starter set, but this is all of the rules in an intro adventure in the back. Yeah, Hatter. Well, here we go. Let's find out who is winning Alien RPG. Where's my mouse? There it is. Demon Quingar. Quingar, congrats. You gave a GG immediately after winning. You GG'd yourself. Now, if any of you would like to sponsor a giveaway, up in the giveaway pool, whatever this amount gets to, I'll hold a giveaway. We could do more rule books and such. I have Alien RPG. I have a starter for it. I have more Call of Cthulhu. If you all want to throw in, because of the act of generosity, I will increase the amount in the giveaway pool by an extra 20% as the budget to purchase goods off the shelf in the giveaway. That is open to you all. Because if you're going to step up and be generous and possibly not win something for yourself, I want to reward that, and I will always sweeten. I will sweeten this pot for you all. As a show of appreciation. Bane, you did get an orange and a yellow cap. You got the Beholder Treasure Nest dice bag and an unpainted Laughing Hand and Fiendish Wanderer set from the new unpainted Wave 3 minis of Critical Role. And what I will do, pending any of you who want to do a giveaway or to get capsules, you've already seen some capsules opened up here. You can get capsules for yourself or give them. There's a story that I want to read you all. And I want to read The Call of Cthulhu for beginning readers to you. Hatter, I heard giveaway. Let's get everyone playing new stuff. Uh-oh, too late, Bane. So we have already surpassed the critical threshold here. If anyone else wants to donate into the pool, whatever the final result is, I will add that extra 20% to it. So there is going to be a giveaway going on, and let's see if we can make it extra spicy with other starters or books or intros into things. So what I will do, and yeah, second class, I reward generosity here, especially if it's people helping others get into the hobby, expand their hobby, or just try and get more minis or paints, or to try and involve more people. I want to reward that as a show of appreciation for that behavior. So... the banter. I'm loving the banter between Hatter and Bane. Then what I will do, I'm going to mark this this giveaway as complete. We're going to call this giveaway that has been started by, but could be added to by others. We're going to call this Expand Your Hat Risens, as Hatter would like you all to try new things. So exclamation point ticket or exclamation point enter to get in. And any of you, if it's $5, if it's $10, all of it's getting an extra 20% thrown into the prize pool. I'll keep the prize pool open for a little bit here for you all. So you have a chance to get a ticket, or if you all want to add further to the pot, because then I'll take whatever that total is, and I will saunter over to the shelves and start picking some stuff up here. Demon Quingar wants to throw in some. All right, so we've already broken 100. Of course, that's not even counting. That is not even counting the extra 20% that I'm going to throw in. Cloaking Dust wants to increase this even further. Scooby-Doo. Hatter, you have unlocked something in other people here. So the higher that number goes, it'll get that extra 20%, and I will go within that budget to pull things for you all. Yeah, Bat. The whole thing is going to be themed that way. And so we're going to have a lot of fun reading this. Yeah, way to go, Hatter. Do you see what you've done? You've unlocked generosity in people's hearts. I should probably get up and pull a couple things right now that I'm thinking about them. I may be a bad influence, but I'm still influential. That's almost the blues take of if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. So I'm going to go start pulling some things. I will keep my ears open. If any of you throw in, again, it could just be $5 you want to throw in to sweeten the pot some, because that might mean the difference between me, being able to include a dice set or do something else. Let me know. We will get to this in just a moment. Oh, and let me see what I can get here, because Hatter would like you to try new things. I would as well. So let me see what I can grab for you all to try and set you on these adventures, to try and get you out there and try new systems, new styles of play, maybe to challenge yourself. And again, I love D&D. That is bread and butter, and that is the core of this channel in a lot of our presentation. I do want you to try other things, and I want you to challenge yourself and stress yourself for that growth. Alright, no looking, 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 no looking. You're not allowed to see. Let's see. I might need to get up one more time here, since this is calculated at... So that's a 150 budget. There's one more thing that I can grab. So there's currently a little bit more wiggle room in the budget. I'll get up and grab one more thing. If any of you want to continue to throw in, I'll go get stuff. But I'll be right back. I have to grab one more thing to complete the budget. technically have $5 left over. So unless anything else is thrown in, I'll just round it up to 7 and give a $7 capsule as another prize in the giveaway pool. Looks like the entry period has been open for almost 8 minutes. And I can close that here soon. There are 24 people of 49 viewers who have gotten in. Remember, any prizes won do have free shipping to a U.S. address. If you live outside the U.S., you will be responsible for the international shipping to get the prize or prizes out to you. If you haven't already, please join our Discord to make communicating about to whom and where you want the prizes to go a lot easier. Tello Potato Pony, hello! Yeah, hello, hi! Well, Tello, I appreciate the follow, and I appreciate you being able to hang out tonight. For any of you who can, I don't count who's here or not, how often. You all have lives to live, you have games to play, you are pursuing your careers, your education, family, or other social engagements or life. And I want you to enjoy that, and if there's ever any time or consideration left over, I'll be around. Fat guy? All right. Thank you very much, that fat guy. That was very generous of you. Rayven, if you are here, can you give Fat Guy a shout out as well as a fellow streamer? So with that, I was already floating 5. That's 25. That is $29. So I have about an extra $30 that I can put into something else due to Fat Guy's generous donation to the giveaway pool. Let me get up one more time and see what I have. It absolutely does. Fat Guy, your 20 effectively turned into $30 that I can go and get something here. Freestyle in with the cheers. My goodness. Thank you very much for the cheers, Freestyle. That was very kind of you. The cheer, the love, and the hype is always appreciated, and I hope you know that it is always earned. And look at that. Freestyle just fed Biddy 2,000 bits. Yes, says Biddy. I hope you enjoy the new messages as well, because they all have new. I put in the new BTTV emotes and new things that are set at different tiers as well. So I need to get up and recalculate the old budget here. Let's go. Let me take a look one more time because I want this to be accurate. So currently the budget is $198 because that's the 20% on top of 165. Y'all can see how this compounds pretty quickly. For those of you who throw in $5, $10 or more, that can go to get a lot more prizes in the prize pool. And what else? What do I have so far? Again, no looking, no peeking. Shame on you. Shame. Shame. So the budget has actually increased. I'm floating. I am. What's the sassy bitty emote? There's a couple different ones. I don't know if that one's showing up for you, Phil. So I have $53 to play around with currently. I'll keep my ears open. If any of you want to continue to have me populate the generosity and the inspiration Hatter has caused, where in the wake of everything, of explaining these systems and going through it, Hatter also wants you all to try some different systems as well. And let me see what I have here for the rest of the budget. Alright, you all are not allowed to tell Darkwolf this, but I'm kind of going over budget. That puts me actually on budget with the 20%. Because that was... that had me down 7, because I had $53. I pulled a $60 item. Noctis. So then that 5... would go against the 7 with 2 remaining, and I'm absolutely fine rounding up. Noctis, you saved me a little bit of scorn from Darkwolf, because if she learned I went over budget more than the 20% already allows, she would be very grumpy with me. You'd think that I'm supposed to be the boss, but actually it's her. It's kind of a weird system. So, Noctis, yep, you got my back. Thank you so much. Well, Bane, the gambler's fallacy clearly states. yeah, whoever's running the books. Alright, so with everything, it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 prizes. I currently have 5 prizes for 25 people who have entered. I will pull more if any of you provide more. Otherwise, I'm going to count down from 20, close entries, and I will start giving out prizes before I get to story time with you all. Yeah, 5 prizes and they're all Call of Cthulhu. Good. Alright, here we go. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With 27 people, ET just snuck in there. Let's move this out of the way before we get to story time. And by the way, if any of you still have questions about horror in D&D or any of the other settings that we talked about, you're welcome to ask. Please do. All right. Hatter wanted you all to try some new things. Now, first up, I have another Alien RPG. This is a story. this is a whole campaign in one. This is focused on the colonial marines. So in D&D terms, this would be like a module. Okay, this does not contain the rule book for the game. Like, I believe there's a rules reference in here, but this is a good way to start into it because here's a pre-written story for you. I ran Destroyer of Worlds for my friends here locally. It was a ton of fun. I really liked it, and you all can step up and be an assault squad of Colonial Space Marines. So I want to get someone going in an adventure in Alien RPG. Move this, and the winner of the Destroyer of Worlds adventure, a storyline, a cinematic play. This has all the accessories and everything that you need, though, to run the story and to be very efficient about it. The winner of this is Osric the Dwarf, apparently with a matching lizard here. So it is another glorious day in the Corps for you, Osric the Dwarf. Congrats for being a part of the assault squad in the Destroyer of Worlds. The Destroyer of Worlds game. It's a fun story. It gets really intense too. Woo, doggies! Assault Squad was really flagging through that. Now, keeping things futuristic, I want to send someone to the horrors of a slightly cyberpunk, like a sci-fi fantasy dystopia. I want to give you the Shadowrun Seattle Sprawl box set. And this will give you a strong start into Shadowrun. This is, what if goblins had cybernetic implants? What if dragons ruled global megacorps like Amazon or whatever? And this is going to take you into the specific setting of Seattle as presented in this complete box set here. Yeah, I'm just giving into the corp. Next up is Cloaking Dust. Congrats, Cloaking Dust, on your trip to a dystopian Seattle. Some people might consider the big city like that already a dystopia, but this is a fantasy take on a urban dystopia. Have a good night, Zump. Thank you for hanging out. And congrats to Cloaking Dust. Now, speaking of learning systems and the future, while we have been primarily focused on horror, and not that there's not horror in war, I do want to offer a BattleTech beginner box to one of you out there. This, and by the way, there is a role-playing system if you want to play as the Mech Warrior, not just have the BattleTech tabletop here. But if you want to learn a new system, a bunch of lore, look, I will pander to Derek, of course, because all of you out there, if you have questions on BattleTech, you can absolutely go to Derek and ask him about it. And I would challenge you. You can go to Derek and say, Derek, these are just shooty pew-pew robots. How can you find horror in a board game, in a hex-crawling board games of shooty pew-pews? Let him step up to that challenge for you. No guts, no galaxy, says Second Class. The winner of this set is Victust. Vic, hello, welcome, congrats. I know I was pronouncing the T at the end, but... Victus, congrats. Victus, have you played BattleTech before? Are you familiar with the lore or the mechanics? Oh, that was actually 2. Whoops. You have not. All right, Victus, or Victus, if that is your real name. Hey, Lethality, good to see you, my friend. It's been a while. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Lethality. Lethality. My friend. I'll be here if you need me, okay? Oh, Lethality. All right, the next product. Let's continue. Let's continue our exploration. You want to talk about horror and terror? I want to take you to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. This is the Wrath and Glory core rulebook. So you can conduct yourself in the world of Warhammer 40k through role-playing. And this is the whole core rulebook that will teach you what you got to see. A lot of great art in here. If you're a fan of 40k as a setting, then you might just like this system called Wrath and Glory. All right, and the winner is Orchid Twilight. Orchid, congrats. And then, lastly, for this round of the giveaway, I'm now going to fling you into the far past. We're going to go past the 1920s. We're going to go past all of that, and we're going to get older with it. This is the Soulbound starter, and this is going to teach you the rules of Warhammer role-playing, but set in an older time. This is more around the age of Sigmar. And again, this is grimdark. You can explore horror, you can explore terror. This is also letting you step outside of the comfortable bounds of Dungeons and Dragons, maybe with some familiarity in the sense that it is, a Get Ye Flask times, fantasy. But Warhammer does help drive home bleakness or despair, different types of horror as invoked by the Xenos or the Daemons or whatever. And so the winner of the Soulbound starter set is Woden Emery's. Congrats, Woden. Hey, Desolate. And Desolate was never heard from again. The end. Wow. I would like to thank all of you who helped to make that giveaway possible. Well, now you can know something about it. I mean, any of you can always trade your prizes if you want. But this might be an interesting way for you to learn about that setting. If you like sci-fi, you play BattleTech and such, Orchid. This is a little bit maybe darker twist on it. There is a miniature component that you can include with it if you wish. Although Bane, you can't corrupt her because she's trying to live a life of not having vices. So I'm going to mark this giveaway as complete. Hatter, thank you for sparking something amazing, and I hope that you can sit back and and go like know that you really, really did something cool for a lot of people that got a lot of others involved, and all of you who donated into it or participated in it, that we just shared a very cool moment together, because something like this could happen, and it happens on a pretty regular basis as well, and it can't happen without you all. And so I want you to know just how much I do truly appreciate you and everything that we've built as we share our stories and our experiences together. As you might come in randomly off of the D&D page or another page, or you came in with a raid. This is our first time meeting or our 100th time meeting. Know that you are valued here in the Hero Zone every single night. Sometimes the evenings if I'm doing an inventory unboxing stream, but mostly at night. And now what I'm going to do, unless any of you want capsules for yourself or to have me open a new giveaway and give to others, I wanted to read to you H.P. Lovecraft's The Call of Cthulhu for beginning readers. And unfortunately, the directly overhead lights, they're going to do what they're going to do, but when we get to the paper, it's not going to be a wonderful bedtime tale. Let's see, that's showing up pretty well on the camera. Can you all see this all right? It is story time, Rip. Yep, cuddle up with the tentacles. Let's see, I know there's an old library background soundtrack here. Yes. You can see it while on mobile. All right then, everyone. If you're ready, let's begin. The Horror in Clay. The most merciful thing in the world, I believe, is humanity's failure to fully conceive of the cosmical horrors we've yet to reveal, and which up until now I have tried to conceal. Back in late 26, when my great-uncle died, I discovered the research he wanted to hide. Over time, he'd uncovered much more than he should. He'd have kept it all secret if only he could. But Professor George Angel has met with his fate, and exactly what killed him has caused some debate. The physicians have claimed there's no reason to doubt that his lengthy walk home caused his heart to give out. Let me try and fix this focus. A rhythmic pulsing heart could be thematic, but I also think it might be a little blah. So... the more sinister truth I have heard people say, he was shoved by a sailor who stood in his way. And my poor Uncle George, he was really too old to survive such a bump on a hill in the cold. Shortly after his death on that hill by the sea, the professor's belongings were given to me. I was sorting through all of his research one day when I found a monstrosity made out of clay. It was carved by a sculptor named Wilcox one night, when more sensitive folk endured horrible sights. The young sculptor was puzzled by what he had made, by the script and the creature his carving displayed. So he sought out an expert who'd know what they meant, who'd explain his mad visions and where his mind went. It was fortune that brought him to Angel's front door. You see, it might be, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, and it's more of an Angel, but you see, Angel had seen such a creature before. The professor urged Wilcox to try and recall all the things he had dreamed of, no matter how small. When the sculptor then coughed up the sounds that he'd heard, it confirmed something quite supernatural occurred. Cthulhu Fhtagn. The professor requested a journal be kept that the sculptor could update each night that he slept. And the dreamer recorded the things he had seen for the whole month of March with this nightly routine. But on April the 2nd, his diary stopped, when into unconsciousness, Wilcox had dropped. I believed it was probably some kind of hoax, that my uncle fell victim to Wilcox's jokes. For a time I was willing to let it all pass, until later I read of Inspector Legrasse. Two. The Tale of Inspector Legrasse. When Legrasse met with experts who liked to explore, he presented a thing they had not seen before. He was looking for answers but got none at all, until Webb raised his hand at the back of the hall. He had seen something like it a long time ago. It was worshipped in Greenland by strange Eskimo. He described how they danced and repeated their cries, which Legrasse recognized to the expert's surprise. Funglui, Mugwanfa, Cthulhu Relay, Waga Nagal Fhtagn. Maybe I shouldn't read that part out loud. Oof. He went on to reveal where his knowledge was gained. He'd encountered a cult, the inspector explained. They had told him the meaning of the words they'd been screaming. In this house at Relay, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. It's like Beetlejuice, right, Noctis? In a New Orleans swamp, less than 1 year before, he had broken that cult in the name of the law. When some people who lived near that swamp disappeared, the police had been called. The worst had been feared. Well, thank you for the well wishes, Bane. By the way, Derek, with your background in art and such, I hope that these illustrations are delighting you in various ways. There were rumors of crimes being kept out of sight, in the heart of the swamp, in the midst of the night. So Legrasse had arranged for a squad of brave men to accompany him to the maniac's den. The policemen took care to avoid certain trails, as the locals had told them some terrible tales. They were warned of a lake and its polypus thing, to which cultists at midnight would crazily sing. When Legrasse and his men had discovered the place, they discovered the worst of the whole human race. The policemen had paused to recover their breath. All the kidnapping victims had been put to death. Funglui, Magawaldnuff, Cthulhu Relay, Wagnagal Fatagan. That's 2. With the cultists locked up by the end of the day, the police had to know why they'd acted that way. Then a cultist named Castro had spoken with glee when describing a city lost under the sea. He believed that great old ones who lie underground will remain there until that lost city is found. Great Cthulhu once led them across outer space when they flew here to Earth from some faraway place. They have slept for millennia, Castro had said, but their dreaming confirms that they're not really dead. When that city named Relay comes up from the deep, then Cthulhu will stir and give up his great sleep. You'll find mention of this if you dare take a look inside Abdul al-Zared's mysterious book. I will quote here verbatim for those who don't know what that mad Arab wrote such a long time ago. There is nothing that's dead which cannot eternal lie, because give it strange aeons, and death may yet die. By the way, I don't know if this comes through. Do you see the face on the book? The 2 eyes, the nose, and the mouth. The art is very Seussian, but don't... There are certain details that have been paid attention to. So Cthulhu's cult study the skies every night, knowing Relay will rise when the stars are just right. All the experts and Angel had taken an oath not to speak of that cult, nor encourage its growth. With the mad implications of what they had heard, they would research in secret and not say a word. It was hard to believe all the things that I'd read. I still doubted a lot of what Wilcox had said. I had thought that perhaps the young sculptor had heard of that dark southern swamp and the crime that occurred. For my own peace of mind, I just had to be sure that it wasn't a prank, that it was nothing more. When I'd spoken to Wilcox, he'd made it quite clear that the call of Cthulhu was something to fear. Then I went to see Castro, but Castro was dead. So I stopped in to see the inspector instead. When I spoke to Legrasse, I was lucky to find that he still had the cult in the back of his mind. I had started to think it would make my career if I published this stuff for the whole world to hear. I believed I could research and then write a book, but with no further leads, there was nowhere to look. So I packed up my notes and I put them aside. It was only much later a clue was supplied. The madness from the sea. I was studying rocks from all over the world when a sheet of old newsprint from Sydney unfurled. On that faded old page, a forgotten report told the tale of a schooner whose trip was cut short. Of 11 crew members, 10 failed to return, and the loss of the Emma had caused some concern. After meeting a yacht which had ordered them back, it appears that the Emma fell under attack. When the Emma was sunk, there was nothing to do but to seize the Alert and abandon her crew. Two weeks later in Sydney, a sailor arrived, but no other crewman from the Emma survived. The report said Johansson returned from the sea with an idol in hand quite mysteriously. On the fate of his crew, he'd refused to say more. Then they died on an island they'd stopped to explore. The events had occurred in the very same week that young Wilcox's nightmares had been at their peak. So I tracked down Johansson to hear what he'd say. By the way, if you want it to be Johansson, it could be Johansson. If you want your J to be hard or soft, that's up to you. So I tracked down Johansson to hear what he'd say through New Zealand and Sydney, and lastly, Norway. When Mrs. Johansson had come to his door, she explained that he died just a few months before. He had never revealed what had happened at sea, so she took out his logbook and gave it to me. By the way, if you're noticing as time is passing. He had written in English to help spare his wife from the terrible knowledge that ruined his life. In that book, he described the strange place he had seen, and I knew that to relay, the sailor had been. When the crew went ashore, they discovered a stair, so they climbed to the top just to see what was there. Then Johansson described how a door opened wide, and they heard something stir in the darkness inside. He recalled that they froze, and that nobody spoke. So intense was their fear when... Cthulhu awoke. When Johansson and Bryden returned to the sea, they had jumped in their boat in an effort to flee. As Johansson prepared to escape in the yacht, he discovered the boiler was not very hot. When the sailors then learned that Cthulhu could swim, poor old Bryden went mad, and the future looked grim. The Alert started moving, but not very fast, and the creature drew closer each moment that passed. There was nothing to do but to steer with the wheel till Cthulhu's huge head was lined up with the keel. When the yacht pierced Cthulhu between his great eyes, the Alert had survived to Johansson's surprise. At the end of the logbook, I fearfully read that the monster was sighted, repairing his head. By the time they were rescued, poor Bryden had died, and Johansson was sitting with eyes open wide. Then the rescue ship, Vigilant, sailed past the spot where the city once was, but by then it was not. I assume that Cthulhu resumed his great sleep at the heart of his city, way down in the deep. I discovered the sender of Wilcox's dreams, and I'm certain there's more to the cult than it seems. But the knowledge is more than just one man can take, and in knowing I fear that my mind will soon break. Now I've told you these things so that you'll understand why I'm sealing them up, just as Angel had planned. Just remember the cultists are out there somewhere, keeping track of the secrets they don't want to share. Found among the papers of the late Francis Wayland Thurston of Boston. The end. The most merciful thing in the world, I believe, is humanity's failure to fully conceive of the cosmical horrors we've yet to reveal, and which up until now I have tried to conceal. And there's your bedtime story, everyone. And I hope, so this is what got a lot of this started, right? And if you could follow along this Seussian take on the Call of Cthulhu, I fully believe in you to be able to tell a story in Call of Cthulhu, in Alien RPG, in Vampire the Masquerade, in any of these other games that we talked about this week or that we touched upon. You want you want me to read it again? Was my pacing off? Is that what it was? And by the way, I was trying to make sure that I was backing up the way the story was told to get your mind to wander or to get your heart racing a little bit. These are techniques that you can employ as a live DM, GM, ST, or through remote play if you use a virtual tabletop. Did you hear the uptick in the pace at certain points? The stress of my voice in certain places? These are very simple techniques that you can use to enhance whatever it is you are presenting. Of course, things like eye contact can help. I understand, Derek. Some people want to pass down the old ways. Other people want to warn against the old ways. They dream of mundane things. I want to dream of faraway lands. Wait, Cthulhu, nope. And the second. All right, everyone. I want to thank you for your energy and for everything. You did help to cheer me up. This has been a very rough week. Because no sooner than I talk about horror and terror and, I'm thrust into it. So I very much appreciate it. I will be getting some sleep, redoing some things. If you want your things shipped out, let us know on Discord. For those of you whom I first met, it was a pleasure to do so. I'm going to go take us over into kind of Final Fantasy XIV. We are going to go raid Crispy Bangs, who is doing a DJ set in a nightclub in Final Fantasy XIV. Thank you, Cloaking Dust. Just remember, Maddie, Cthulhu can't do anything as long as you stay awake. Wait a minute. Cthulhu is Freddy Krueger? The whole time? Thank you. And Bane, I'm sorry you had to wait on your capsules. I must have completely missed it. But I appreciate your patience all the same, my friend. Let's go over and get some energy and some fun going with Crispy Bangs. And let's see what the dancers at the nightclub are up to. They have some spooky decorations up at the Coffin, which is the nightclub that had been built there. I'll see you in Crispy's channel, and if you need me, I'll be around on Discord as well. Take care, my friends, and good night out there, whatever you are. That's from Duckula.